So what I wanted to talk about today is magic and emotions. Say hi YouTube, because this is going to go on YouTube because I want to send it to my friend. So the other day, I was chatting to a friend, right? And he goes, Mao, do you know any magic to get rid of emotions? Just sort of, I just half joking, I had a laugh about it. And I've been thinking about it. Right? Magic to get rid of emotions. So magic can do lots of things, right? So the definition of magic is changing your consciousness, right? Using will and imagination to change your consciousness, okay? And not just your consciousness, but the consciousness of other people. And not just the consciousness of other people, and then this is where it gets, esoteric. The world has a consciousness too. The universe has a consciousness too. Everything around you has a consciousness. And you can change that using magic. But to start off with, the simplest forms of magic, just work on yourself. Changing other people's consciousness is sort of like a higher level. Because you have to be very careful in how you do that. You don't want to do it maliciously. And you generally want to do it with permission as well. And changing the consciousness of the world around you is something that you sort of learn as you go, and it's complicated and not super necessary for this talk, so we won't talk about that. And if you have any questions, feel free to ask, because I can imagine this stuff is a bit weird for people. So our consciousness uses emotions, right? That's a big part of who we are, is your emotions. So magic is perfect for changing that. Could it get rid of it? Yeah, you could probably get rid of your emotions with magic. In fact, there is a very good magical technique that Western society has imported recently from the East. Well, we imported it a little while ago, but it's been gotten very popular from the East. So you guys may have heard of mindfulness meditation. Have you guys heard of mindfulness meditation before? If you haven't, in a nutshell, it's a meditation where you sit down, you give yourself, 15 minutes, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, half an hour. You sit down, you lie down, maybe sit down in the comfy chair, no music, try to have the room as silent as possible, close your eyes. And then you breathe in through the nose, and you feel your stomach rising, and then you breathe out through the mouth, and you feel your stomach going down, and you just focus on the physical, one of those physical experiences. So you may focus on the feeling of your stomach rising and falling. You may focus on the feeling of air coming in your nose or going out your mouth, that sort of thing. One of those, any of those is good. You want to focus on the physicality of it. Now, while you're doing this, your mind is going to be thinking. It's going to be wandering, right? And that's okay. That's natural, because that's what minds do. The mind is designed to think about things and just jump around ideas. That's what it's supposed to do. And what your mind is going to be doing, it's going to be thinking a lot. And it's going to be just thinking random stuff. At first, the first things it's going to think is that we can't be doing this. We have too much stuff to do. We've got too much stuff to do, right? We can't be sitting here doing nothing. We've got to check our emails. We've got to pay some bills. We've got to go shopping. We've got to do the dishes, that sort of stuff. But then, so it's good before you do this just to write down everything you need to do so your mind can release that. But then after that, right, your mind is going to start jumping around all sorts of crazy ideas and then, oh, mouth breather, sure. Sorry, I just need a... There we go. You guys can sit on my lap while I tell a story. And yeah, so your mind's going to be jumping around, and what you need to do is you need to keep bringing it back to the breath. Keep bringing it back to the breathing, to whatever you're focusing on. So if you're focusing on your stomach, you need to bring it back to that and think about the physicality of it. If you're focusing on the breath coming in or out of your mouth, focus on that. And don't get angry at yourself when your mind jumps around. It's just doing what it's supposed to do. It'd be like getting angry at your heart for pumping blood. You don't want to do that. That's just what it's supposed to do. And Basically, think of it as cars going past on the road, right? You don't have to go out and greet every car as they drive past. You can just let them drive past. And that's what you have to, that's what you have to consider your thoughts. And so for mindfulness meditation, you let your mind get a thought and then just let it go. Get a thought, let it go. Okay, so, wait, hang on. There we go. Okay, that's a bit better. So, and what this does, so this meditation, and you do that for like 15 minutes, right? And then you just sort of let yourself get up, and it's tiring to do it. Because you're not letting your mind do what it wants to do. And what that does is it helps you deal with your negative emotions, particularly stress and anxiety. It's very, very good at helping you deal with stress and anxiety. So, and it's a method for helping you, it's a good method for helping you sort of ignore your emotions and focus on the physicality of your body. And ironically, to push yourself to a more spiritual state. Now, we took that from Eastern, so like India, I can't remember the exact, I won't say much about that tradition because I simply don't know much about it. We took that from an Eastern tradition. We didn't take all the rest of the stuff for a very good reason. I won't go into why, because that's a whole other rant. But it's very good at controlling your emotions. And meditation in that form, meditation and prayer are magic. So that is a magic spell to help you to nullify your emotions. So yeah, there are ways to do it. But now, here's the thing. Magic, particularly in the Western traditions, one of the points of magic is to know when to do something and when not to. That's 10 times more important than being able to cast these spells, is knowing when to cast a spell and when not to. Now, a hilarious thing is recently the Reddit witches trying to hex the Taliban. Have you guys seen that? The Reddit witches trying to hex the Taliban? Like, I cannot think of anything dumber than that. Except the ones that tried to hex the moon a couple of years ago. But that was just silly. So, now these people, their hearts are in the right place. They think that the Taliban are, very bad people and they want to save the people there. Now, aggressive magic is tough. Aggressive magic almost always loses out to defensive magic, right? Defense gets a pretty big buff compared to offensive magic. Especially when you broadcast to everybody what you're doing, which is what they're doing. And especially when you're going up against one of the largest organized religions in the world. You don't fuck with that. The only people that could fuck with that is another massive organized religion. You crusade against the Taliban, you don't try to hex them, right? It's not gonna work. You're gonna get your shit slapped. Saw a post about astral projecting and trying to fight out. Yeah, well, I think that was a LARP because there was a very similar post about the Shrigma mushroom. But I believe that, yeah, that could happen. If someone tried to fight Allah while astral projecting, they would just get their shit slapped. Because of the amount of energy pouring into Allah from even just the Taliban itself, let alone all the other Muslim communities, is just obscene. Let alone all the other Abrahamic religions, if, he may borrow from that too. Like, it's just unbelievable. It's like trying to fight a nuclear weapon with, a pebble. What are you going to do? It's not going to happen. But see, the thing is, they don't know when to use their powers and when not to. This isn't a fight you should do, because you will get your shit kicked in, okay? Yeah, Allah is powerful. This is completely disregarding whether or not you think they're right, whether or not you believe in any of this stuff. Allah is a god. Allah is one of the strongest gods on the planet, full stop, right? And even from a chaos magic perspective where, you know, gods aren't real or whatever, it's just energy being poured into an idea, Allah is still one of the most powerful ideas on the planet, so you just simply don't fuck with it, okay? Like, it's that simple. You would need to be obscenely powerful to mess with him, and I sincerely doubt there's anybody that powerful alive on the planet, and if they are, it's definitely not people on Reddit trying to hex him because they don't like that the Taliban aren't feminists. Okay. It's just a very silly idea. It's like saying, I'm going to kill the president, and then running into the White House with a pocket knife. What do you think's going to happen? Like, what do you legitimately, what do you think is going to happen? You're just going to get your shit slapped. Just full stop. Okay, we got 10 sips left. So, the time and place is important. Okay, so the question was, I want to remove my emotions, okay? Now, the answer isn't, here's a spell to do that, even though there are spells to do that, which is what I explained before. The answer is, why do you want to do that, okay? Now, Western traditions, Western magical traditions, they're very big on you being a part of your environment and your culture. So you have to understand your place in the system, okay? You have to understand your place, not... Ugh. Now, that's a very interesting thing to say. Your place in the system. What the hell does that mean? Right, there are a lot of systems going on. So there's multiple systems going on, right? You've got your regular systems like, you know, economic systems, political systems, cultural systems, that sort of stuff. But we also have, you know, we've got nature around us. We've got our families. We've got our friends. We've got the spiritual systems as well, right? And all of these things contribute to how we're feeling on a day-to-day basis. So, if you're feeling bad and you're feeling like you want to remove your emotions, and I've been there. I remember in the past, I have literally said to somebody that my life would be 10 times better if I was an unfeeling robot. I've literally said that to somebody in the past. The question isn't, how do I remove my emotions? The question is, what the fuck is going wrong in the systems around me that makes me feel this way? Because humans aren't supposed to feel that way, right? That is not... Humans shouldn't feel that they need to remove part of themselves to feel better. Especially something as ingrained as emotions. That's not something that a human should be feeling, right? So you need to ask yourself, what is going wrong in the systems around me that make me feel like I need to change into an unfeeling robot to deal with it? Like, that's a scary thought, isn't it? That you need to change into an unfeeling robot in order to deal with the life around you. But look, there's a reason we have emotions. There's a reason that we are the way we are, okay? This life is a test. And we need to learn things from this life. We're here to learn. We're here and we never stop learning, okay? And we have emotions for a reason. We're mortal for a reason. We're weak, fleshy, spongy creatures for a reason. You know? And sometimes, you know, and I don't know what that reason is, but sometimes life sucks, and it sucks for a reason too, right? And if your life sucks so bad that you think that you need to become an unfeeling robot and remove your emotions, that means that you have something to learn. Now, the learning in this situation is to figure out what's wrong in the systems around you that makes you feel that way. Because something is going wrong. Okay. Maybe not a completely unfeeling robot, but get rid of the harmful ones. Well, see, that's the thing. There's a reason we have those harmful ones too. Machine cruelty, function. That made my chat box fuck up for a second, Lurksing. Like, sadness is important. Sadness makes us realize that we've lost something worth losing. If you didn't have sadness, then then there would be no opposite of joy. And you need the carrot and the stick. Humans need the carrot and the stick. That's one thing we've learned quite often, is that humans need a carrot and a stick, right? You need to fight for the things that you love so you don't feel that sadness. However, the sadness reminds you that when you do lose those things, that those things were important to you. Because that can be very easy to forget. Very easy to forget. When you're living with someone day to day, you can take them for granted. And then the moment they're gone, you realize just how important they were to you. And sadness is an integral part of that. Hey, another mouth breather. Okay. Give me one sec. And there's the one behind. Oh, he's the big boy. He can sit. No, he can go here. He can go here. Okay. So, all the emotions, even anger. Anger has a very important role too. Sadness, envy, even rage. All these emotions are very important because at the very least, they're a barometer for what's happening around you. Right? You feel joy when stuff goes right. You feel sadness when stuff goes wrong. You feel anger when you have been wronged. You feel envy when when you don't have enough and somebody else has more. That sort of stuff. Where does being a sociopath fall into this talk? Being a sociopath is very interesting, and that's a bit of a different topic. That gets into the theology of Hermeticism as to why there are people born with significant flaws like that. So everybody, I'll keep it brief for now, and we will talk about this more later. But everybody, so this world is a test for us. Everybody is given a different hand at birth because they need different tests. Sociopaths, they have different tests from people who aren't sociopaths. What do they call that? Cognitive normal, something like that. I can't remember. I can never remember what it is. So people who are different. Everybody has their own test. If you're born and if you have a bad hand, then you have different tests in this world from the rest of us, and your tests involve dealing with having a bad hand. And the theology part of it comes from when you've learned your lessons, that's when you move up. So other religions say, like Christianity has heaven. If you perform well in this world, then you go into heaven. Hermeticism has a great chain from the top of the universe to the bottom of the universe. The bottom, dirt, then it's plants, then it's animals, then it's humans. Then after humans, there's, you call them angels or spirits and that sort of stuff. And it goes up. When you learn the lessons of one tier, you move up to the next tier. And that's the theology. And I don't really want to go into that in this talk because that's a bit of the religious side of things, and I don't expect you guys to believe that when I'm talking about other things. But the idea is that we have these lessons for a reason. And sometimes you're dealt a shit hand. See, sometimes the cards that you get are just bad, are worse than other people. Sometimes people get fantastic cards to play with, and that's just how it works. It might be more of a challenge to somebody when they start off with a good hand in life. So, they start off rich, they start off attractive, they have their perfect health. It may be more of a challenge for them to learn empathy and caring for other people and generosity than it may be for someone who's born in the slum, and those things come naturally to them because they naturally share with other people. And we all have a lot to learn. We never, as long as we're on this tier, there's a lot to learn. And nobody's life is easy. Everybody's life is a tragedy. It's very important to remember that. Even if people's lives seem 10 times better than yours, everybody's life is a tragedy. Emotions are important because it's the way we learn. Yeah. Emotions make people realize how much something, events, or people matter to us. For a moment, some want to be a robot, but if that happens in life, may as well come to a standstill since there's no reaction. Yeah, emotions are how we understand the systems around us. You can look at things, you can see things, but you don't understand how it impacts you until your emotions tell you. Do you understand the importance of emotions, but it's kind of interesting to think about decision making when you're more rational, because I think that's the main reason you don't want to feel, so you don't get hurt or don't regret. Yeah, so that's the thing. Emotions because, you know, on some level, humans are biological machines, and emotions are different states in that machine. When you're angry, you act completely differently than when you're sad. When you're sad, you're completely different than when you're happy, and so you pick different actions. And the body thinks that, you know, being angry means that you will make the right decisions to stop being angry. When you're sad, you will try to make the right decisions to stop being sad. Or make the right decisions to work through that emotion. Some emotions need to be worked through, right? Sadness needs to be worked through. You can't run away from being sad. Anger sometimes needs to be worked through. You know, you can't always run away from it. Joy needs to be enjoyed. You know, you want more joy. Things like that. You know, it's complicated. And yeah, when you make those decisions, it's not always the best, in quotation marks, decision. But check out the book An Anthropologist on Mars. It's a different way that brain damage affects emotions and decisions. Oh, that does sound interesting. An Anthropologist on Mars. I will add that to my notes. Thank you very much. I like my chat because they always give me interesting recommendations. Oh, 9 sips left. Okay. So yeah. So emotions, if your emotions are so bad that you feel like you want to get rid of them, they're telling you that something is drastically wrong in the systems around you. Okay. So you need to look at the systems around you, and there's a lot of different systems. You know, just for example, right? Just for example, let's take a couple, right? You know, you can have the system of work and how work interacts with you. So, you know, your job. And you got the system of family, how your family interacts with you. You know, not everybody has the same systems, and everybody's, even if they have the same, you know, I've got a family system, you've got a family system. They're completely different from each other's family systems. So there's no one-size-fits-all solution. But there must be something going wrong there. So you need to go through and you need to bug fix, right? You know, you can think of it like a computer. You need to bug fix these systems. You're hurting. That means the system is wrong, right? Something's going wrong. Are you getting... So you need to look at each one. You need to look at... And each one has different ways to look at it, right? Let's say family. Does your family treat you with respect? Humans need respect, and if your family's not treating you with respect, that can really suck, right? Are you seeing your family enough? You know, it's good to catch up with them, and sometimes that's not always possible. But it is important to have those bonds with your family. You know, if they live overseas, then, you know, at best you can, like, you know, give them a Skype call or something, and that helps. But, you know, maybe you need to talk to them more, maybe you need to talk to them less. You know, maybe something's going wrong. Maybe, you know, maybe there's health issues in the family. And that's something you can't really do anything about. So you need to look elsewhere for other problems, because one problem, when you're feeling this bad, it's usually not one problem making that happen. It can be. Like if it's a personal health problem, like, you know, maybe you've got cancer, or maybe your partner's got cancer, then that can really, really affect you. And in that case, well, you know, there's no, this sort of whole discussion, it's not going to help much. Unfortunately, you've got to deal with that individual problem. But this discussion is more for lots of small little individual problems that pop up that by themselves they're not bad, but when you add them together, they can really make you feel like shit. So okay, so, you know, maybe you're not interacting enough with your family. Okay. And what about friends? Do you have enough friends? Do you see them enough? Do you talk to people enough? Are you talking to people? Because people, even the most quiet person, needs a little social interaction every once in a while. And no matter how much you don't think you need it, you really do. So having a friend to chat to, right? You know, so, okay, there you go. Maybe you're not talking to people enough. Okay. And then about health, right? Health is a big system. One of them is the food you're eating. Are you eating healthy? You know, it's not about, like, you know, you can still eat some bad stuff, but as long as you're eating healthy for the most part, that's very important. Because the body affects the mind. The body and the mind are the same thing. And if you have a body in poor condition, you'll have a mind in poor condition. So you need to make sure that you're eating healthy, right? And you're eating healthy and you're getting enough sun, especially these days. people don't get enough sun because of all the COVID lockdowns, but you need to be able to go out for walks. And most places with COVID lockdowns still allow you to go out for exercise. Maybe you had to wear a mask or something like that. So that's highly recommended, to get out and get at least half an hour of sun a day. Leon, get the sun. I was just saying, you need sun. Sun gives us life. The sun is the sole reason we exist. You need the sun. If there's one thing I could tell people is drink water, get more sun. Right? Don't go out and, like, you know, if you spend like if you spend all day inside, don't go out and just spend 10 hours in the sun. You're gonna get sunburned, and then, you know, that's really bad for you. Go out, go for a walk in the morning, get half hour of sun. Your life will drastically improve if you're not someone who usually gets sun, right? Supplements help, but they don't replace. You need vitamin D. So do that. Make sure you're doing physical exercise. Even if you're someone who's, like, you know, eats really well, you still need physical exercise. Walking's good. Hitting the gym's good. That sort of stuff. You know, this is all really general stuff. But what you need to do is you need to look at these systems, look at each one of these individual systems, and just say, is this okay? Right? Think of it like The Sims, right? How it's broken up into all different parts, right? You know, you've got food, you've got bladder, you've got social, you've got entertainment, you've got tiredness. Think of it like that. And you need to make sure that each one of those bars is being filled up properly. Because if even one of them isn't, it's going to cause problems. And if multiple aren't, it's going to cause serious problems, okay? And one big thing that a lot of people, actually one other thing I will mention specifically that a lot of people online these days don't do is a proper sleep schedule. You need to be getting enough sleep, full stop. Full stop. I was going to bed and being in bed for 8 hours and waking up, and I was fucking exhausted. I just need more sleep. And so I started getting in bed and then getting up 10 hours later. I wasn't asleep for the whole time. I would sleep for, like, you know, 9 hours maybe. But it gave me time to, like, you know, if I wake up during the middle of the night and need to, like, go get a glass of water a couple of times, or I have trouble sleeping, it gives me time to sleep. And you need to give yourself time to do that. And fixing all these little things, right? So that's the general the general advice section over, right? See, that's your anxiety talking, and the moment you start fixing up these systems, that anxiety will start going away. Most mental problems, not all, but most, are caused by imbalances in your systems. That includes depression. Like, depression stats have gone through the fucking roof over the past 10 years, and it is because all these things are unbalanced. People are too stressed out, and it shows itself as depression or other things, but it's because of imbalances in these systems. Depression medication, like, it effectively is depression because depression medications will still work on it. But if you fix up these imbalances in the systems, most of the time, it's not a genetic thing that just inherently occurs. It's happening because of other reasons. And if you fix those reasons, then it will improve. So, that actually, depression, that note on depression actually helps me raise a good point. So, if there are imbalances in the systems around you, and you get something that looks like depression and quacks like depression from it, what is the best solution? Is the best solution to take medication? Or is the best solution to change how those systems around you work? I'll tell you which one's easier, but I think we both know which is the better one. If your emotions are telling you something, what should you do? Should you listen to your emotions and change your life around so that you're not feeling bad? Or should you medicate or remove your emotions? What's the best solution there? I can tell you which one. I can tell you which one is the best solution. I don't think I need you to. I don't think I need to tell you. I had to sleep when there's VTubers to watch. Oh, geez, you're watching all my mates. Wow, that's a pretty solid lineup. I'm not gonna lie. So when your emotions, when you're feeling that bad, that's when you need to stop and you need to listen to your emotions, right? The first thought is to make it stop, right? You don't want to feel that way. You fucking don't want to feel that way. And I know you don't want to feel that way because I've done the exact same thing. I've been in the exact same position. And I've been like, this fucking sucks. I want out. I'm going to say the S word here. I wasn't suicidal. Thankfully, I wasn't suicidal. It never got that bad for me. But it has gotten that bad for other people. But there was the feeling that I want out. I just wanted to stop. I wanted to go away. I didn't know how. And so my only thought was, can I just surgically remove my emotions and become a robot? Because that's all I could see was the way out. Like, you know, that's how bad it is. But it's the systems around you. It's the world making you feel that way. It's not. So, in Western society, we have this idea that everything is in the fault of your genetics. Everything is inside you, and it's not. It's not. We're part of bigger systems here, and we need to realize that. Your responsibility is looking at those systems and fixing them when they're broken, right? Or fixing them as best as you can, because not every system can be fixed. Like, you know, if you have health problems, then there's only so much you can do about it. You can work hard every day, and you should always try as hard as you can to fix those problems. But they can't always be, you know, they can't always be fixed. But as long as you're working harder, you will feel better. As long as you're making steps towards getting better, you will feel better every day. You know, when I feel like shit, I always force myself to go out for a walk in the sunshine. And that's the last thing. I want to, like, when I'm feeling bad, I just want to sit inside and I just want to play video games. And I'm like, no. I know if I'm feeling that way, if I don't want to do anything but play video games, I know that's a sign I need to go out for a walk. Because I instantly feel better the moment the sun hits my skin. Instantly. But all it takes is small changes and you'll start feeling better. Small changes. Small changes. Small change every day. Baby steps. You know. Because if you're moving in the right direction, importantly, it means you're not moving in the wrong direction and you're not feeling worse. That's very important to remember. You can always feel better. Life is never over. It's never, you know, there's never something you can't come back from. Ever, ever, ever. You can always come back from it. You can always move towards the right thing to do. Always. You should never give up. Because you can always make each day better than the last. But yeah, so that's sort of what I wanted to talk about. And so this mindset, right? This is one of the more important things about magic is that, yes, there are spells to do lots of crazy things, right? You can't throw fireballs and all that sort of stuff, but you can change the world around you in significant ways. You can change your own mind, you can change the mind of everybody else. But the important thing is knowing what to do. Now, there was a friend of mine, and I won't say who out of politeness, but there was a friend of mine. He was having some trouble with another person online who was doing some pretty horrible things, right? And he comes to me and he says, "Mal, I want a spell to hurt this person, and I want to, and I knew what had happened. And look, if anyone deserved to be hurt, it was this dude that the guy wanted to cast a spell on, right? Because he does some pretty horrible stuff." And I said, "Look, mate, I can point you in the right direction, right? But is that the right thing to do? If you start doing something like this, if you step down the wrong path, how is that going to affect you? Like, what effect will that have on you in the future? You doing this now, you casting this spell to hurt somebody, you going out of your way to hurt somebody, it doesn't matter if they deserve it or not, but causing physical pain to another human being, how will that affect you in the future? Not only how will it affect you, how will it affect your friends and your family, the people around you that have to interact with, the people that love you every day? How is that going to affect them when you do things like this?" And somehow, I managed to talk him out of it. I did not want to tell him the spells to do it, and I don't know a lot of them because I don't like it. I don't like doing spells to hurt people. Yeah, there are a lot of people in this world that deserve to be hurt. There are people who objectively the world would be a better place if they weren't here. And that's a fact. That's a straight fact. But it's not my place to make that decision. And if I did start making that decision, how would that affect the people around me? The people I love and interact with every day? You know? Could I be the happy-go-lucky dog you see here before you, if I was hurting people that way? I don't think I could. And that's a very important part of magic, is learning the right steps to take. Lead to a lot of regret for some. Yeah, and it would. And see, that's another thing as well. Some people learning these spells, some people would just do it willy-nilly and start hurting whoever, and some people won't do it at all. I'm in the camp of not doing it at all. How do you know? Well, that's the thing. That's the process. That's what we learn. That's what we're here to learn. Is we're here to learn. That's our moral guidance, basically. Because what's to stop you, right? What's to stop you from going outside and punching someone in the face right now, right? I mean, yeah, there's laws and stuff, but what's to stop you internally? Hell, what's to stop you from doing... So, like, say you find a wallet on the ground, right? You pick it up, there's $1,000 sitting in there. No one will know you've taken it. You could hand it into the, you can hand it into the lost and found, because you're in a shopping center, you hand it into the lost and found, or you can just take that money out. What's to stop you from taking that money out? Oh, thank you for the follow, Hobie-chan. Because you're tired. You don't take that money because it's the right thing to do. Because you know that the person on the other end, for some reason, it's their money. It's not your money. You don't own it. You haven't done what it's taken to earn that money. And there's a good chance the person who owns that money has. Because taking that money would create unnecessary suffering for yourself. And that's the same thing. And importantly, you would think that it's okay to take that money. And we know the slippery slope is a thing, right? People say the slippery slope fallacy. It's not really a fallacy for most part. One time you take money you found on the ground because you just find it there, but it stains you now. You are someone who steals. That is who you are now. Yeah, like, it's easy to come up with reasoning. And it's easy to come up with reasoning why not to do it. But the important thing is making the choice to respect other people. I believe. We all become important when we realize our goal should be to figure out our role within the context of the whole. Bang on, Lurksing. Bang on. Right? And this is sort of where it gets a bit theological again, right? Humans have a place in this world. This is a fact, right? Everything on this planet has a place, okay? The trees have their own place. The animals have their own place. The insects have a place. Humans have a place. Our place is at the top of the chain for sure. There's a reason we got such big brains. But with great power comes great responsibility. If I ever did that, I think I would regret it and never stop thinking about it. That's the thing. It would always be there. I still remember in a shopping center where I saw somebody else do that. Someone dropped some money and someone else picked it up behind them. I still remember that. I should have said something, but I didn't. I was a kid at the time. I was a puppy. I'm a dog. Yeah, I am. Okay, I'm the second on the food chain. So humans, right? Humans and human equivalents. Top of the food chain. We've got big brains for a reason. With great power comes great responsibility. Our place here is not to be creatures of instinct. When our souls were animals, that was their time to be creatures of instinct. We are not creatures of instinct anymore. We are creatures of intellect and rationality and reasoning. So you need to consider, maybe there are some circumstances where taking that money is for the best. But you have to be sure that what you're doing is for the best. And in general, returning the money is for the best. If you're literally starving and it will save your kid's life if you take some of that money, then look, that's probably the right thing to do, okay? But if you're fine, you know, you're not hurting for money, and you find a big stack of cash there and it's got someone's name on it, it's not your place to take it. And Western esotericism seeks to help you realize your place in the systems, right? It helps you to realize, it helps to teach you what your place is, what the systems are and what their place is, and when the systems aren't functioning, to bring it all back around. Because sometimes systems get broken. And usually it's because someone's broken it, right? I think everybody can agree that Western society is pretty fucked at the moment. Should it be that way? Should a worldwide empire last for less than 100 years? I don't think so. When things work, so a good barometer, right? It doesn't always work, but a good barometer for if something is good or not is if it enables beauty. So when you look at art, is art beautiful? Then it's reaching for the good with a capital G. If a society just makes ugly things, ugly buildings, you know, poverty, crime, it's not good. It's not reaching for the good. Now, we shouldn't discriminate against people, like, you know, and this it's a rough barometer with people as well. You can generally tell when someone's nice, right? And it's a weird aura around them. And that's not to say that you should discriminate people for not looking like that. And that's not to say you should always trust people that look beautiful. But it is a good barometer. If someone's doing the right things, they will usually look better than someone who's doing the wrong things. But yeah, most of the dysfunction, just to sort of wrap up, most of the dysfunction in your mind and in your body and in society as a whole is because the systems around you are broken in some way. It could be your relation to the system is broken. For example, with food, right? For the most part, it's pretty easy to get healthy food for a reasonable price. If you know how to cook, if you learn how to cook, you can generally eat pretty well. No matter what your budget is, right? You can generally eat well. You know, you don't have to eat like garbage junk food. And the systems are in place for that. But if you're still eating garbage, then your relation to that system is wrong. Right? Now, there are some systems that are broken. So, the internet, for example. Internet and social media. They are horrible systems. The social media is a vampire, is a tick. Sitting, it's a buzzing insect hovering above us in the stratosphere, siphoning energy from us, right? That's what you can imagine social media as, right? It's a buzzing insect putting pressure on your brain to siphon off energy. That's not even a metaphor. That's literally what it does. And that's a broken system. And any relation to that is going to be broken by default. So you should be very careful dealing with a broken system, right? There are some systems that are kind of broken and can be fixed. But yeah, well, actually, that's a good point. Capitalism, our current system, is fairly broken, but it's one that has worked in the past and can be fixed. And there are healthy ways of engaging with it. So it's not necessarily... It's pretty broken, but not entirely broken. So you can engage with it in a healthy way. So engaging with our current economic system isn't necessarily bad. It can be, but isn't necessarily. And it can be fixed in the long term, too. So that's an example of a system that's kind of broken, but not really. A fully working system, yeah. So shops where you can buy healthy food, and if you're not engaging with it, then that's fucked. And a fully broken system would be something like social media, yeah. Mao's a communist confirmed. No. Oh, don't do that. I have to put a Res Rose on my name on Twitter now. Oh, jeez. But yeah, so you have to look at the systems around you. And this isn't an easy thing to do, by the way. Because it means that you need to examine your life in detail, right? Because it's not just all the physical things, right? It's not like just where you live. It's not just your interactions with your family. It goes all... Sorry. It goes all the way from physical, all the way to spiritual, right? So the physical things, what food do you put in your body? What exercise do you do? How much sunshine do you get? Where do you live? Are you living in a stressful area with lots of noise and lots of pollution? All that stuff. Then it's the social aspect, right? You know, engaging with your friends and family and people online. Are you doing that enough? Are you not doing that in the right way? Do you have unhealthy relationships? Is that causing you undue suffering or stress? You know, and then you move up a layer. Are you spiritual? Are you fulfilled in your job? Right? It's very similar to Maslow's hierarchy of needs. You can think of it that way. And then you think of these as interlocking systems. You know, and then eventually you get to the stage where you think about your purpose in life, right? Are you seeking the goals that you want to seek? Are you going in the right direction? What do you want to do in life? Are you spiritually fulfilled? Are you a religious person? Do you feel like there is a spiritual gap in your soul right now? I can guarantee you that most people in the world feel that way. Guarantee it. And they will fill it with whatever they can, as we're seeing right now in America. People want purpose. Not having purpose is usually not a major cause for dysfunction, but it really doesn't help. So, right, I'm gonna give another recommendation here, right? Say you want to figure out what's wrong with the system. You're not feeling good. You're not feeling good, right? You need to figure out why, right? So, a good way to do it: get off the computer, stop listening to music. Take some time for yourself where you got as much silence as you can get, right? And you sit there and you chill out and you bring a notebook, not your phone. You bring a pen and paper, right? Little notebook. And then you sit down and you just let your brain go, right? This isn't mindfulness meditation. This is different. You just let your brain go, right? And you just let it think. And you write down anything that you think is urgent, anything worth writing down, because the first thing your brain is going to do, this is the first thing your brain always does, is it always goes, oh God, why are you wasting time? Here's a whole bunch of stuff you need to do right now. You need to check your emails. You need to do the chores. You need to do this. You need to do that. No. You can chill out for half an hour. You can spare half an hour doing this, right? There isn't a person on the planet that can't spare half an hour. And it's good for that too. It's good for expanding your attention. So you write down all that stuff, right? If your brain says you need to do this right now, you write it down and your brain's like, oh, okay, I don't care anymore. That's a fun trick to do with your head, right? I want you all to do this today or tomorrow, right? You spend half an hour. Let's start small. This is actually tough to do. So let's spend 15 minutes, right? 15 minutes, not on the computer, no music playing, as quiet as you can get it, right? If your house is noisy, try to go out to a park or something. Make sure you're safe. Don't go out in the middle of the night. Find somewhere nice and quiet. Bring a pen and paper. And then just sit and think, right? Write down the first things that come to your mind. Your brain will say, this is urgent, you have to do it right now. Write it down, and your brain will relax. There'll be a whole bunch of ideas at first, and then you'll start coming up with some weird ideas, and just let your mind play, right? But try to guide, and this is a guided meditation where you think about, if you're feeling bad, right? Think about why you're feeling bad. If you're feeling sad, if you're feeling stressed, if you're feeling anxious, think about that. Think about what might be causing it, right? So, you're thinking about it. Maybe, work is stressing you out. Maybe, you got a friend who's a dickhead, and just think about that. And if something is stuck in your head, right? If something gets stuck in your head and you keep going back to that every 5 seconds, write it down. And then your brain will relax and move on to the next thing, right? And that's going to be the best 15 minutes of your week. I fucking guarantee it. if you take anything away from my streams, is taking 15 minutes just for you. No music, no media, nobody else to bother you. Just you and a pen and paper. That's it. Do that. And I guarantee you, your life will improve drastically. I can promise you that. Something I used to do is to go for a walk, no particular place to go, just walking and observing, avoiding interactions, and being really pleasant. Yeah, because it gives your brain time to unclench, right? Think of your brain like as a muscle, right? When you're looking at content, when you're, looking up dumb shit online, when you're working, your brain is working. It's clenching up like a muscle. And this gives your brain time just to go blah, just relax, right? Have you ever been in a situation, right? You've had a busy day, you come home and you go to bed and your mind is like, boom, 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 boom. Here's a million things you need to think about. And you're sort of stressed out and you're sort of overthinking a million things, million miles an hour, you can't sleep, right? That's happened to everybody, right? Right? You know why that is, right? Because that's the first time in the day your brain has had a chance to unclench. That's the unclenching of the brain right there, right? The relaxing of the brain muscle. You need to give your brain time to do that during the day before you sleep, or it will do it itself while you're trying to sleep. But the VTubers, yeah, you gotta give yourself time. So the best way I found, and that's what shower thoughts are as well. If you've had an interesting thought in the shower, that's just thinking. Because that's usually the only time of day when people don't have music playing, aren't interacting with people, aren't watching media, is in the shower. So if you have shower radio, fucking get rid of it. Just get rid of it. That's awful. No shower radio. Give your brain time. Please. And if you can, if you're going to work or whatever, park 5 minutes away and walk for that part. No music, just you. Or, if you catch a train, if you can, get off a station earlier and walk if it's close enough. Or take a bit of a longer path, Just think of little ways you can add in a bit of time just for you. Just for your brain to unclench. Nah, Ruri, I'll guarantee your brain will be a lot nicer to you if you give your brain time just to think. Music isn't inherently bad, right? Media isn't inherently bad, but one of the biggest disasters of modern society is that we're bombarded 24/7. The moment you wake up, you're on Twitter. Before you go to bed, you're checking your phone. It's just everywhere. You can't go outside without hearing music blasting. You go into the shops, there's music blaring. Everyone's got earphones in. It's just, you need time to relax is the important thing. And that looks like time doing nothing, but it's not, right? It's rest for your brain, and that's very important. Very important. Every bit of your body needs rest. Every bit. From the top of your ahoge to the tips of your toes. You all need rest. And it's not to say that time won't be fruitful. It will be very fruitful. It'll be worth it. Promise you guys that. It's a Mao promise.